those are some big boys getting slammed. Welcome to the Trash Cats Trashcast. I'm Richard.
I'm Steven.
And today we're tying up our top knots, getting fat, and wrestling for yen. All for the entertainment of our feudal lords.
It's a sumo wrestling episode.
Fuck yeah. Got my, I ordered my loincloth on Amazon, and it just got here this morning, so I've been wearing it all day long.
Is it a good fit?
Oh, it's perfect.
It's going to be worth big yen one day.
Yeah, man.
How's your week been, man?
Been pretty chill, uneventful, which is good.
Yeah.
How about you?
It's been a shit week, but about an hour before recording, I saved 2 more baby raccoons.
Hell yeah.
Very satisfying. They were in the trash can again, and they couldn't get out. They ate too much trash, had tummy aches, and they're just rolling around in trash in the heat.
You sent me that picture. There was that empty can of Nutella in there, man. They were ready to risk it all for that Nutella.
Risking it all for some Nutella. If I was a raccoon baby, I would probably risk it all for a jar of Nutella too, though.
I mean, that's fair.
Yeah, so let them out. They're doing great. They high-fived each other as they ran off.
Heist achieved.
Yeah, so, yeah, it's been a lame week, but doing okay. Raccoons make me happy, and sumo, I didn't know much about this going in, so this has been very exciting to learn something, something I've always thought was so cool but didn't know as much about.
Yeah, I've always liked the idea of sumo. I didn't know. I realized after doing research, I didn't know shit about sumo.
Yeah.
I really liked E Honda back in Street Fighter, and that was when I was a kid, and that made me like, oh, I should, like, what's his whole deal? Why does he fight like he do?
Did you do the blow-up sumo suits as a kid?
No.
That was the best. That sparked my inspiration.
There you go. That'll do it. Now, I have to ask, out of curiosity, did you do that as part of a church-oriented event?
Oh, 100%. Field day. 7th to 8th grade field day trips. Oh, for sure.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that makes sense then.
Any honorable mentions?
I got nothing.
Okay, I'll be honest, guys. I was super lazy. I had all these big aspirations, but I got distracted watching Sumo World Championships.
I mean, that's fair. That's research. That's homework.
So this week was a bit of a bummer. So when I'm feeling down, I go back to one of my biggest childhood inspirations. So for this honorable mention, I want you all to look up Bud Dwyer.
Shouts out to Bud Dwyer.
That's the homie, Bud Dwyer.
That's the homie.
This man, he's done so much for me. And you know what? When you look it up, don't even look up like Google images or whatever. Go straight for the video. Find the real story.
Well,
do your own research.
Yeah, the full video is going to be harder to find, but
it's somebody always has a Google Drive link in its entirety. It's what a gangster. what a cool guy. So yeah, look up Bud Dwyer. And I was just gonna say, before we kick it off, we did want to mention that we're gonna try our best with pronunciations and just general research. We're not experts, but this has been super fun for us. If we get things wrong, oh well, do your own podcast, okay?
Yeah. I'm a little more confident about the pronunciations than Steven is, but most of that confidence comes from years of watching anime.
Hentai or anime?
Why can't it be both?
Okay, fair enough. Want to kick us off on that note?
Sumo is a form of competitive full-contact wrestling where a wrestler, also called a rikishi, attempts to force his opponent out of a circular ring or into touching the ground with any part of his body other than the soles of his feet, usually by throwing, shoving, or pushing him down.
Sumo originated in Japan, the only country where it is practiced professionally and where it is considered the national sport. It is considered a modern Japanese martial art, but the sport has a history spanning many centuries.
Historians agree that the origins of sumo date back 2,000 years. However, it never really flourished as a spectator sport until the early 1600s. Like any other social group in Japan, there are strict rules and traditions that are observed throughout the sport. If it's your first time watching a sumo match, you will realize that very little time is actually spent grappling. Rather, the wrestlers spend most of their time performing pre-bout ceremonies steeped in Shinto traditions, such as the use of salt purification.
Shinto, literally the way of the gods, is Japan's native belief system and predates historical records. Most of the Shinto that we see in sumo occurs symbolically. To begin with, the sand that covers the clay of the doyo itself is a symbol of purity in the Shinto religion, and the canopy above the ring is made in the style of the roof of a Shinto shrine. The 4 tassels on each corner of the canopy represent the 4 seasons. The white one is autumn, black is winter, green is spring, and red is summer. The purple bunting around the roof symbolizes the drifting of the clouds and the rotation of the seasons. The referee resembles a Shinto priest in his traditional robe, and kelp, kettlefish, and chestnuts are buried in the center of the ring along with prayers for safety.
Each day of the tournament, also known as a basho, a ring entering ceremony is held, wherein each wrestler's body and spirit undergoes purification. Yokozuna are dressed in mawashi with 5 white zigzag folded strips of paper on the front, the same as those found in the entrance of Shinto shrines. On the front of all mawashi are sagari, which are fringed and twisted string tucked into the belt, and they represent the sacred ropes in the front of shrines. Numbers of strings are odd, between 17 and 21, which are unlucky numbers in the Shinto tradition. And of course, the salt that is tossed before each bout is an agent for purification and one of sumo's most visible rituals.
All these details are so beautiful, and it's so interesting how much deep tradition and thoughtfulness goes into all the different elements.
Oh yeah.
I watched a 15-minute video where one of the referees was showing how his wooden blocks for clapping to make the sound, how they were carved from cherry trees, and he had to pick one specific tree in this orchard that grew for years, and then he made 50 pairs of the wood blocks, and then had to choose only 2 of them, and then they got stained and left in the perfect darkness for weeks at a time. It's just wild.
Yeah, that's it's so extra. I think one of the cool things that, I don't know, it's hard to say it's super cool because there is a nationalist part of it, but a lot of the Japanese traditional stuff, they take that shit very fucking seriously. The people that are into it and follow it very strictly, it's extremely serious. Just the tradition. I learned it a lot in the sushi stuff where our
homie, what's his name?
Jiro.
Yeah, Jiro.
He fucking, to even start touching the rice, you gotta be working with them for 20 years or some shit.
There's both ups and downs to that. It's so beautiful that some people are willing to put in that time and devotion into mastery, but there's also an element of impracticalness.
Right, yeah.
But I think it's such a clear demonstration in the difference in cultures. It's so interesting. Yeah. I love the romantic nature of devoting that much of yourself to the mastery, to the details.
Yeah, that it is very romantic in that way.
Yeah, even the barbers that do the sumo wrestlers' top knots and different. It's all based off the samurai hair, right?
Yeah.
But they have to spend 10 years before they're fully qualified to do the top wrestler's hair. It's wild.
Yeah, pretty wild shit.
As a religion of customs and not laws, Shinto developed as a religion to please the gods in order to ensure a good harvest and divine protection, but soon made headway into the sport of sumo as a way to entertain those same gods, purify the sport itself, and to protect the wrestler from harm. In many ways, the origins of sumo go back to the idea of a ritual celebration of the harvest and the prosperity of the people. The fact that they had enough rice to help breed these demigod warriors to battle for the entertainment of the people is so impressive in and of itself. In one of the docs I was watching, there was these groups of specifically young women, but they, the whole country loves them, but there were all these young women that collect these baseball style cards, and they memorize all the exact measurements of their favorite wrestlers.
That's pretty wild and cool.
This fun teenage chick, she had sealed bags of their different sweat rags and stuff.
Oh, Jesus.
It's pretty wild.
I mean, there's dudes in America that do. I mean, there's dudes all over the world that do that, but
it's selling bathwater online.
Goddamn right.
But the sumo, it feels kind of gluttonous to me, but more in a way, in a less greedy way, but more in a way that is meant to celebrate and embrace tradition. Both.
Yeah.
It feels like a sacrifice. It seems less about the honor or glory of the fighters, but more about what that sacrifice means to their country and to the world. Because the wrestlers have to sacrifice so much personally. I mean, that's a brutal life a lot of them live.
Yeah, and it's not particularly rewarding.
Yeah, not most of the time at least.
So each sumo tournament consists of various rituals and traditions that are practiced across the sport. But many tournaments are also rituals in and of themselves. The ring ceremony is performed by high-ranking wrestlers before their bouts begin. The wrestlers are grouped into two groups, East and West, and each group takes a turn entering the ring. The lowest-ranked wrestlers enter first and walk a complete circle around the ring, followed by the other wrestlers in ascending order in rank. Before the individual wrestlers enter the ring, they are introduced to the spectators. Once the last wrestlers in the group have been introduced, the wrestlers who are facing the spectators turn inward and face each other around the ring. After clapping their hands once, they raise their right hand, lift their decorative aprons created for the ring ceremony, then finally raise both hands in unison. This tradition goes back to the samurai days and represents the wrestlers showing each other that none is armed.
I thought that was super cool.
Yeah, very cool.
It's almost like a peacocking, right? You're both demonstrating your flexibility and prowess while also showing the other fighter the respect that you're not armed, right? That it's going to be a fight of honor.
Yeah.
And it's done in such a graceful way. It resembles ballet almost. Some of the movements.
It's definitely got a bit of flamboyancy to it, but it's
definitely.
Yeah.
Once the actual bout begins, the two wrestlers spend several minutes before their match lifting their legs high in the air and stomping them down, a practice said to scare away any demons. They also throw several handfuls of salt into the ring, which is said to purify their battleground. Many of the wrestlers will also sprinkle salt around their bodies as a means of protecting themselves from injury.
The sport of sumo has very few rules, which can result in some exciting bouts. Sumo takes place in a ring approximately 15 feet in diameter and is raised about 2.5 feet off the ground and on a huge block of clay called the doyo. The edge of the ring is made of tightly wound straw bands called tawara and raises up 3 inches off the doyo. A new doyo is created for each tournament. 5 judges dressed in black kimonos all sit below the doyo around the ring. These judges are former wrestlers themselves. A referee, or gyoji, dressed in an elaborate kimono stands at the edge of the ring and officiates the bout. At the end of the bout, the gyoji points to the winner. In a particularly close bout, any of the 5 judges can dispute the call made by the referee. In this case, a conference is held inside the ring to discuss the match. In modern times, instant replay is used to determine the actual outcome of a match when in dispute.
I also found it interesting. There seems to be a system that makes it fair, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there's also an element of politicking.
How do you mean?
In certain tournaments with certain outcomes, when the match seems like a draw, the judges, I believe, can overturn the ref and vice versa.
Yeah.
So it seemed that's why later we're going to get into some of the criticisms or the darker side, and there are some allegations of how matches can be controlled for or against fighters. That's just kind of a side note, but it seems from an outside view as a very elaborate system.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just really interesting to watch. Like, most of the time that ref is calling it right away, but in certain situations, I think for certain types of matches, they could go for like 4 minutes, which is super rare for a bout to go more than a handful of seconds. But they could be going for like 4 minutes. There could be a break in the action where they get water, like special water, and a special napkin to wipe their face, this special paper, and then they go back for another 4 minutes, and then it goes to like different decisions. It's just so interesting.
Yeah, very, very detailed. But even like that's really rare.
Yes, yeah.
That shit, like the last time they had like an actual draw was like 50 years ago or some shit.
That's so wild.
Yeah.
I really like that, though, that there can be those very unique outcomes, that there's such tradition, like specific tradition and rules and like lore and reasoning for it all, that there can be those, I don't know, very, very interesting outcomes.
Yeah.
A wrestler loses a match when any part of his body other than the bottoms of his feet touches the doyo, or when he is pushed or thrown outside of the ring. In the middle of the ring are 2 white lines called Shikirisen. These lines are the starting point of each wrestler for each bout. When a judge gives the signal for the wrestlers to fight, both wrestlers crouch behind their respective Shikirisen and face each other. When both wrestlers place both hands clenched in fists on or behind the Shikirisens, the bout begins.
During the actual bout, a wrestler may use any technique or maneuver except pulling his opponent's hair, hitting his opponent with a closed fist, boxing his opponent's ears, choking his opponent, although he may push at the throat, or grabbing his opponent's mawashi in the crotch area. Wrestlers use all sorts of techniques during the bout. However, a wrestler's style can usually be classified as one of 2 styles. Oshizumo, with a tendency to push your opponent out of the ring, and Yotsuzumo, a tendency to grab your opponent's belt and force him out of the ring. The truly best wrestlers are adept at using both styles to beat their opponents.
Man, it felt so much more violent than I remembered.
Oh, like yeah, it gets aggressive.
Very brutal. Like, it's easy to kind of, like, I don't know, cartoonify or, like, think of it as silly.
Yeah.
But with fresh eyes, it's so brutal.
Those are some big boys getting slammed. And then especially if you watch like a few grappling matches in a row and then you come in on one and they like immediately the bout begins and they come up like swinging and you're like, oh shit, he just smacked the shit out of dude. Or like holding him back by like putting the palm of his hand on his throat and like pushing the rest of his body with the other hand. Like
there's a fair amount of accidental knockouts because these guys, they're flexible. They have that fast twitch muscle. Like being that big, you're always going to look fatty, but these dudes are like,
they're fucking brick walls, man.
They're beasts. Their whole life is just stretching, working out, and wrestling, and eating. They're just made of muscle. It reminds me of rhinos.
Yeah, that's a good comparison. I said earlier something about every time. Yeah, I said something about like they just training themselves to be bears, but a rhino is probably a little bit more accurate in how they fight.
Man, that'd be wild. Sumo's first rhinos in the ring.
Oh God.
How many sumo wrestlers does it take to beat a rhino?
In the dystopian future when we start our Coliseum.
God. One day.
One day.
At the end of each bout, the winning technique is announced, informing the spectators exactly what method was used to win the bout. While there are over 60 official ways to win a match, only a dozen or so are seen regularly. It was really interesting. One of the top guys, I forget his name. He was the reigning champion. After he retired, he was highly criticized for his lack of dignity in the ring, basically for fighting dirtier than the other wrestlers or the Sumo Federation felt acceptable, but he still wasn't breaking the rules. So even though he was like the champ for so long, his memory was tarnished for that and for other reasons. He was ultimately forced out of the sport. But I just thought that was really interesting. Like, they really care about being as true or honorable to the rules and techniques as possible.
And I feel like that falls into the genre of, like, they don't have a rule against it because it's probably there's gray areas, where it's like, like, okay, this is like allowed, but the way you're doing it is aggressive. The way you're doing it is too much. It's like
right.
I always think of that the judge with the pornography thing, and it's like, I couldn't define pornography, but I know it when I see it.
This judge is just looking at shit all day, like, always, oh, hell yeah.
Oh, I know me some porn. After the last bout of the day, the Yumitori, or bow twirling ceremony, is performed by a Makushita-ranked wrestler from the same stable as a Yokozuna, which is the actual top dog bad motherfucker in sumo. True fans of the sport will not leave their seats until this ritual is performed.
And real quick, the wrestlers really do come from stables.
Yeah, that's a perfect word for it because it is exactly what they do.
That's pretty wild, though. Normally that term, at least for us, that is a very derogatory term.
Right. No, but the Federation like has them live in the houses. We'll get into the details and all of it.
It's just so weird to hear because that's like only for pimping in the U.S.
Yeah. Yeah,
it's interesting.
So the Yokozuna, it's like I said, the bad motherfuckers, right? They're like the big dog status shit. That's like the ultimate goal of sumo wrestling is to become a Yokozuna.
Am I correct that the Yokozuna are limited to only 42 of the top ranked division?
Oh, it's not even that.
Okay.
That's like below, like to be in the class to become Yokozuna, like there's a limitation on like that space. But to be Yokozuna is like, throughout the entire history of the sport, there's only a record of 70 wrestlers that have ever been crowned as Yokozuna.
Oh, wow.
So 2,000 years, I'm not sure if that's like since the 1600s when it became like popular as a, spectator sport.
Right.
So like,
but from recorded history, we have like 70 of these guys.
Right. So like the eras in sumo are defined by the Yokozuna who fought in them in those eras.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Because you're leaving your mark on history with that.
Exactly. In order to receive the promotion to the rank of Yokozuna, a wrestler must win 2 tournaments in a row. To emphasize how difficult this task is, out of hundreds of thousands of young people who have ever stepped in the ring, only 70 have ever reached that pinnacle.
Wow. Like
in the past when there were no active Yokozuna, because like if you don't get to that level, or if they don't have people that are like competing at that level and winning those in a row, like they just don't have them. And if they like retire or die or whatever, then there have been years and years that go by where they don't have that.
I believe I saw too that part of the semi-recent revival of sumo's popularity was because of the rise in Yokozuna.
Yeah, there's been like a couple of them in the last like 20 years or something that have become.
And the one guy I was saying that was at the top, he was kicked out for very minor stuff compared to, athletes from the United States. It was he got into a bar fight where he was attacked and he may have gambled and they stripped him of that title instantly.
Wow.
Yeah.
So like in times where they're like short on, like when they don't have active Yokozuna, they will make exceptions to the 2 tournament rule. So if like a wrestler wins 1 tournament and then they follow that performance up immediately with like a record that's worthy of being Yokozuna quality, like they will, give them the honorary title of Yokozuna.
Oh, that's got to be a hard one to swallow.
Yeah, I feel like, getting that on a technicality would kind of suck, but it's like...
Because all these I
also imagine like the the exception kind of thing. Like, they're probably still quite strict about that.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like they're like, okay, well, we need at least one person to be, so I guess it's going to be this guy. It's like they still have to perform up to the par.
Right. Because, I believe it was approximately 660 professional sumo wrestlers in Japan today.
I think that's even like worldwide. I don't even know if that's just in Japan.
Gotcha. And which, that's a lot of competition because you have to be like the top of that many people, but it's of that many individuals. Like
right.
Baseball, there's not 660 teams or whatever. So like every one of those men are like striving to earn these titles. It's
right.
Pretty wild. But it is, there is a decline in the amount of wrestlers today too. Top division wrestlers make relatively modest earnings. Now, this I don't really fully understand, but a lot of these guys don't make the most money.
Right,
it's a pretty humble living. So I don't know if that means to be financially successful, you have to be at the very top or not. Because once you are at the top of the sport, winning these tournaments and different bouts, like you can get additional reward money.
Yeah, there might be like sponsorships and stuff. There might be all kinds of stuff.
I think they said certain companies can sponsor the tournaments themselves, and then they'll give you an envelope of cash on the doyo.
Fuck yeah.
That's pretty cool. But there are, for the secretore or top wrestlers, they have built-in bonus systems. So there's Yokozuna? Those are like the legends. Those are like the very, very top. But the guys that are just the higher up of their division, they're the secretore. I know it's the word. I don't know how to pronounce it. But if you're secretary level, there are additional bonus systems built in where you get like quarterly bonuses. I think it was 6 times a year. But the middle rank to lower rank wrestlers have a very humble income. The trainees, so the guys that are trying to be professionals, they don't even have a salary. They get small allowances instead of salary. And they're also doing a lot of like servanty stuff.
Oh yeah, they're doing all the grunt work.
Yeah. So with that said, if you're one of these guys, most of your life needs are paid for, right? Yeah. They're giving you probably literal tons of food each year.
Yeah.
And sometimes the wrestlers have stipends or allowances determined by their stable, their travel and all that kind of stuff. The gear, whatever, is often covered. But I frankly don't know enough to know if the money is generally fair or not.
Right.
Because I just don't know how it compares like to other average Japanese incomes. It seems like one of those things where you're probably underpaid, but if like the UFC, if you're at the top of the top, you're still going to make bank.
Right.
You know?
And
but very few people get that.
500 yen back in, 1985 compared to like today, compared to the dollar versus today with inflation, like who even knows?
Most of these guys, it doesn't seem like they're doing it for the money. It's not like our professional athletes. This is a pursuit of honor, of cultural, to become like a cultural hero, to be an icon in Japanese tradition. It seems like it's a greater calling. It almost feels like the career path of a Buddhist monk.
Yeah, I can absolutely see that.
Like there feels like there's some overlap of like going to seminary or like religious training or whatever. It just, my impression of it is that they perceive what they are doing as a higher calling. Yeah. And the primary motivation for sumo is not about money.
Yeah, I like it really is. It's a bunch of like repetition. There's a lot of the ritual that I can absolutely see someone finding like a a purpose, finding a stride in that and enjoying it. And I mean, definitely see that in the Japanese culture where, you know, we already talked about there's a lot of that, the mastery thing, like of being a master at something. Like you just do the same thing. Fucking Jiro from Jiro Dreams of Sushi went to the work at the same place every year for, you know, however many years that he owned the restaurant or, you know, had the restaurant. He just does the same ritual every single day, day in, day out.
10,000, 100,000 hours in.
Seriously.
Shit, yeah. And these guys, you know, they're living in these basically dorm communes. It's almost militaristic.
Yeah.
And they're repeating these rituals every day, like clockwork. And they're basically building themselves into big battle monks.
Yeah, the big battle monks.
Yeah.
So we had talked about like they may get additional prize money if like they're sponsored and stuff like that. I thought this was kind of cool. If a yokozuna is defeated by a lower ranked wrestler, it's common and expected for audience members to throw their seat cushions into the ring and onto the wrestlers, though this practice is technically prohibited.
That's brutal.
I think it's funny.
That feels almost medieval, like the throwing of the tomatoes in cabins.
Yeah.
Like public shame, you know, like it's revolves around honor so much, even if it's against the rules. If, you know, a good player gets defeated by the lesser player, they need to to shame them. That's pretty interesting.
Well, I saw it more of like it's this great upset. Like everyone's like throwing your hat into the ring. I guess I saw it as like people are celebrating. Like, oh wow, like how incredibly, you know.
I could be misreading that, but them throwing their seat cushions. Well, that to me is like, fuck this ticket. Like you failed us, kind of thing. Mm-hmm. That's how I read it. I might be very wrong. But.
I mean, it's a cushion. It's not, you know, it's like throwing a pillow.
But I mean, if you're the guy expected to win, like that's a shame thing. They're shaming you for losing.
See, I mean, we'll have to contact a sumo expert, but I see it as a completely opposite. Like they're.
Why do we need to do that? We're so smart.
we're basically experts. We're the one doing the podcast on it.
We read a whole Wikipedia page and watched like 3.5 documentaries. We got this.
Hey, there was one other website too.
SumoTalk.com?
Yeah, SumoTalk.com. Shouts out to SumoTalk.com for sure.
Actually, pretty cool website.
Yeah, pretty dope website. Thanks, guys. Life as a wrestler is highly regimented, with rules regulated by the Japan Sumo Association. Most sumo wrestlers are required to live in communal sumo training stables, where all aspects of their daily lives, from meals to their manner of dress, are dictated by strict tradition. The highest-ranking wrestlers are given their own room in the stable, or may live in their own apartments, as do married wrestlers. The junior wrestlers sleep in communal dormitories. Thus, the world of the sumo wrestler is split broadly between the junior wrestlers who serve and the sekitori who are served. That's the word you were looking for?
I'm pretty smart sometimes.
Sometimes you know what the fuck you're talking about.
I definitely pronounced it wrong, but I knew what I was talking about.
Yeah, you were basically there. Life is especially hard for recruits, to whom the worst jobs tend to be allocated, and the dropout rate at this stage is very high.
This is where alright, some of this felt cringe, right? They're in these dorms, right?
Mm-hmm. It felt cringe.
Because they literally
2,000 years of tradition just for some
years of
jerk
cringe
ass on the other side of the planet. 2,000 years of cringe.
Bro, they got manservants. Like that's what the translation was. Like actual manservants doing their laundry and stuff, right?
I mean, that goes back to like Bushido code shit.
I don't like it. I would be a rogue samurai. I couldn't be a real one. Because I mean, there is parts of it.
You'd be a Ronin.
Like some of these guys, right? For certain tournaments, they would get permission to break curfew. So maybe once or twice a year, they would get out past 10 p.m. So they're in public and all of the locals, whatever, they're all like taking pictures of them. They're looked at as like folk heroes, right?
Right.
And they go to sing karaoke. That was their big night out. And they're singing karaoke and every song they're singing is about women. And it's because none of them had girlfriends. They were basically big, strong, giant incels. To see a bunch of like full-grown men who had lived to be these big battle monks, but had not experienced freedom of an adult life.
Yeah, that sucks.
Was pretty cringe. Like, because on one hand, I admire that devotion to mastery, that trying to be something bigger than yourself, to be a bigger version of yourself, to be this giant. But there is elements of where it felt like they were very, not all of them. It's just that the videos I was watching, a lot of them seemed very socially and romantically stunted outside of the ring. And part of that comes just with the nature of living in a dorm with a bunch of other men for your whole life.
It's a fucking lifestyle, man.
Yeah, there's always part of like the military that like has attracted me, right? When I was like 18, I would have loved to go to a foreign land and murder people. Oh my God. We'd learn how to use guns and grenades. Holy shit, that sounded so cool. But the part of like being part of this big man machine. You gotta make your cut. You gotta make your cut and do jumping jacks and be told what to, like, fuck all that. You know what I mean?
I love that in the theory of, infinite universes, there exists a universe where you traveled to Japan as a younger person, and you decided you were going to stay there and you were going to become a sumo wrestler. And you got into it for a little bit. You were like, you got all, like big, and like, I'm just picturing you with the top knot and the bawashi on. And then you're like looking around after a couple of years, and it like, this is cringe as fuck. And then you just leave.
Dude, all right, this is a jump, but I think you know what I'm talking about. Do you know those? I think it's a South American country. This tribe that lives in the jungle with the massive testicles.
No.
Dude, all right, people are going to think I'm crazy. There's there's another sport. Okay. All right, I'll start with the tribe.
Hold on. Let me real quick. Let me Google search South American tribe testicles. Go ahead.
Dude, their balls are as big as those yoga balls. I'm not joking. Like, it is like a tumor like infection where they have to drag their yoga ball sized balls across the jungle floor. They sit on them.
How? Wait, so there's like a whole tribe of people like this?
It seems to be, from my memory, it seems to be a gene defect that is common in this tribe. Not all of the men have it, but a lot of them do. Did it come up for you?
No, I didn't actually Google that. I'm not fucking up my search engine shit like that.
I'm Googling big balls.
Big balls in South America.
There are multiple Nat Geo docs on it because it became like such a curiosity, but it is a real, like, they sit on them. And then there's also the reason that came to my mind is because there's this weird thing where these like the shape of your body is so odd. You're like becoming different shapes.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I can't imagine it. But there's also a group, I believe it is an Asian sport, like maybe Korean, where they do powerlifting with their genitals, and they like,
hell yeah,
they tie
B&B Pain Olympics. Let's go, dude.
It's like the real thing. They tie like ropes to their groin and they like squat lift 600 pounds with their balls. Like, it's like they could be high level professional lifters, but they exclusively lift with their genitalia, and over a career, it's like they become deformed scar tissue shit. Like, it's for a sumo wrestler to eat that level of food, like, you are changing your whole anatomy. You're changing shapes. It's wild.
Transforming, dog.
Dude, I'm
fucking Transformers.
it blows my mind. I think it's so cool, but just like changing like that is so interesting. Like the pictures of them when they're kids, they're like scrawny little boys, and then like 20 years later, they are a brick house sumo wrestler.
They're no longer a man.
They are the Ubermen.
Yeah, the Alpha Sigma males.
Sumo, the real Sigma.
Yeah. This is what peak male performance looks like.
Just do it. Upon entering sumo, they are expected to grow their hair long to form a top knot, similar to the samurai hairstyles of the Edo period. Furthermore, they are expected to wear the top knot in traditional Japanese dress when in public, allowing them to be identified immediately as wrestlers. We mentioned that all the training that goes into the specific hairstyles, and depending on their division ranking, also dictates what they're allowed to wear in public. Some of them, I believe, had to be barefoot. Some could have certain types of socks. The top levels could wear the sandal type footwear. Yeah,
if you're higher, like way higher ranked, you can wear more casual attire too. when you get into the by that time you have obviously spent years and probably decades in the game. You're then allowed to go outside wearing pants and a shirt.
Well, yeah, such a huge part of it too. It seems like culturally, oh my God, is that they value success.
Yeah.
Both from outsiders entering the sport and people going up in the ranks. Like your freedom, your respect, it's all about the level of success. It doesn't seem like there's a lot of sympathy for the lower levels or the losers.
Right. The association also prohibits wrestlers from driving cars, although this is partly out of necessity, as many wrestlers are too big to fit behind a steering wheel. Breaking the rules can result in fines and or suspension for both the offending wrestler and his stable master.
That's wild. Imagine being too big to fit in a car.
Yeah, that would be fucking rough.
Super rough. I mean, such simple things would be, difficult in life when you're that big. But modern bodybuilders and extreme weightlifting guys run into that a lot. I watched a documentary specifically about... It was a really good one, too. It was about bodybuilders' girlfriends. Them basically just telling their sex stories on how much they valued how their man looked, but how awkward and terrible sex was. It was very interesting.
Yeah, wow.
Have you seen that dude, Ronnie Coleman?
Is that the one that you sent me a video of?
Probably.
The one with the
cop?
No, I'm thinking of the guy that's like, they called him like big body something, or...
I don't even remember, to be honest.
He was like orange and like, he had like real fucked up looking body shape.
I just remembered who that is. Fuck, I'm trying to remember his name. Oh my God, alright, that dude is not a professional. He's just a random dude. Oh, he was part of this series. It was one of the earliest video vlog series ever to exist. And it's like 2000s of this random gym in LA. And it was about this group of gym rats that work out every day. And these characters, it's just the most absurd thing I've ever watched. What is that? I'll remember that dude's name. But this dude, Ronnie Coleman, was a cop. And he won like FFB, whatever, bodybuilder things. But he's considered the best bodybuilder ever to live. Like Arnold Schwarzenegger won the couple small championships or whatever. This dude is like bigger than any human has ever been, like muscular wise. And he was a cop too. And he worked his day job while winning all these events. And he's like popping out of any clothes. He can hardly, at the time, he could hardly fit in trucks and things. It is like he looked like an alien.
Dude.
Like an anime alien.
Big Lenny. Big
Lenny. Oh my God. Look up Big Lenny on YouTube. And That dude, he was taking the drug melatonin something where it changes your skin color, darkens, like instead of doing tanning. You can take
yeah.
He was doing all this stuff. It caused liver failure. So his eyes are yellow. His skin is brown. He's got ascites. So his stomach is like bloated a foot out of his body. Wasn't even an amateur level bodybuilder, but he thought he would. Dude, I have watched probably 20 hours of his vlog. Look up Big Lenny. So funny.
Some wild shit, man.
Fuck, I just got so off track. What are we doing?
You're here. We're talking about body mass still.
Body mass. Just accumulating mass over here. Traditionally, sumo wrestlers are renowned for their great girth and body mass. Fuck yeah.
Big Lenny out here.
But this girth and body mass really is most often the winning factor in sumo.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously technique, speed, all those things matter, but the amount of power and force you can generate are very much determined by your physical attributes and weight.
Yeah, straight up momentum behind. I mean, like, even if, not all of it's muscle, but if you have that weight behind your throw.
Yeah. It's like a car crash.
Yeah.
Like whatever weighs the most is, No weight divisions are used at all in professional sumo. A wrestler can sometimes face an opponent twice his own weight. However, with superior technique, smaller wrestlers can control and defeat much larger opponents. That is kind of the exception, but it definitely happens.
Yeah.
The average weight of a top division wrestler has continued to increase. In 1969, it was 276 pounds. And by 1991, it has increased to 330 pounds. And the record is 366 pounds. And that was as of January 2019. It seems like that record of 300...
That's the record average. That's not like the record of the biggest sumo wrestler. That's just the record average.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the biggest sumo wrestler was like well over 600 pounds.
Oh my God.
Yeah, imagine fighting that guy.
I can't. I'm like thinking.
Can you imagine like just being that guy and like walking upstairs?
Every moment of your life is a battlefield.
Yeah, it's all a workout.
Oh man, like when you see Americans that big, they're on TV shows getting lifted out of their bathtub with a crane.
Right.
That's
the reason why, they have the rascal scooters and stuff. And it's like, because going to the fucking, walking through the grocery store would be so much work. I mean, even if you put like 25 pound, like weight, ankle weights on and like 25 pound on your wrist, dude, that's going to you're going to be fucking exhausted in an hour.
For them to even get...
You're leaving that in.
For them to even get the 600 pounds and be able to move that way, like they had to be getting massive amounts of weight while also building a lot of muscle, but more weight than muscle.
Yeah.
Like that is, it's hard to imagine a 600-pound man doing anything.
Right.
That is absurd. Holy fuck. And imagine fighting him.
Yeah.
Fuck that. It's like a shark. You just got to punch him in the nose.
Imagine, apparently he wasn't like a bad wrestler at all. Like he definitely moved. Put up a fight. Like he wasn't just all, showmanship of that. But
I wonder, like building muscle. I saw a study recently that helped me understand some things a lot. But most of your muscle size development in your very early stages of a fetus through like young childhood or whatever, your muscles are essentially in a sack. So like if your muscles are in these bags, right? Like if you imagine in your arm, you have the different muscle groups and they're like a bag. You can grow that muscle as big as that muscle sack allows. So, like everybody develops muscle differently. Like some people get different muscles bigger or easier than others, but you're fairly limited by your genetics onto how big each specific muscle will get. Like you can push through some of those limits with drugs and things like that, but your body, you can't grow a bigger tricep than your arm is anatomically built to be able to hold.
Yeah.
Right? So like, I wonder how limited your body growth to fat is. Like, do you just die? Or like, can you become... I don't know where the limitations on how fat you can get are. And you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
Like, where does it go at some point? Or like, your body
straight to your hips.
Or your body is burning X amount of calories a day. Like, you can't get fatter than, 800 pounds or whatever.
I was going to say, when you're that big, like, because everything that you do is a workout, like, you're expending calories doing anything.
Right.
So to be building up to that point, to like set out and intentionally gain that weight, while building muscle and whatnot would probably be very difficult, because you're have to put in at least as many calories as you're expending, plus enough to gain. It's like, you really got, he's eating and sleeping nonstop.
A lot of them felt like gaining the weight was pretty brutal or torturous.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot to put on.
One of the fascinating aspects of sumo I found was like the daily practice sessions, like just prior to and like during the tournaments. And I mean, they do all these rituals all the time anyways. But specifically, like before the tournaments, they get really strict about it. And so practice begins like around 5 a.m. for the low-ranked wrestlers. And they start with like the stretching, followed by the actual practice bouts in a makeshift ring. The most common form of this is it's like battling on survival mode. Like, have you ever played a video game where it's survival? You just keep going until you lose.
Resident Evil 7.
Right? Basically, so the winner stays in the ring until someone can beat them. And as soon as one bout ends, every wrestler in the practice session is expected to rush into the ring towards the winner in hopes that he will be chosen as his next opponent.
It's like getting beat in as a gang.
Yeah. I also found this really interesting. There's no formal teaching of like holds and maneuvers. Rather, the wrestlers are supposed to learn these themselves by watching the seniors and like practicing endlessly. I thought that was really interesting. The higher ranked a wrestler is, the later in the morning that he can enter the practice ring. So the highest level wrestlers, don't even usually show up until like 8:30. Like the lower ranked people have been there since 5, but they can walk in around 8:30 and start, barking out orders to the inferiors as they're just like stretching out and getting ready. And as the higher ranked wrestlers begin their practice, most of the lower ranked wrestlers will actually leave and they'll start prepping like the big first meal of the day.
Yeah, they gotta get that big feast in.
Yeah, man, they get that big morning. They don't really do breakfast, I guess, but they do like a late morning lunch kind of thing.
It seemed like they skipped breakfast, and then at or around 11 a.m., the wrestlers sit down for this big meal. The higher ranked wrestlers eat first, while the others stand at attention around the table, waiting to serve their superiors. All right, see, that is the part that I cannot stand.
Yeah.
Like, not just in this, there are so many things like this, where like, to be a part of a group of men, you have to like have these levels of subordination and shit. I hate that. The main meal of the day consists of a stew dish called
Chankanabe.
Dude, that stuff looks delicious.
Yeah, it does.
So good. It reminds me of the meal you made for me and Sarah.
Fuck yeah.
The broth is derived from seaweed and different meats, vegetables, and noodles. They are all added to create a high-calorie meal. Chankanabe?
Close enough. Chankanabe.
Chankanabe is eaten with rice and washed down with bottles of beer. The higher-ranked wrestlers eat and sometimes only leave scraps for the younger wrestlers to finish up. After the mid-morning meal, the wrestlers lie down for the afternoon naps as there are no other official duties to be taken care of. Real quick.
Yeah.
Have you seen the movie? I think we've talked about Train Piercer before, or Snowpiercer.
Yeah.
Have you seen
Train Piercer, the sequel to Snowpiercer?
It's a shitty sequel. Have you seen The Platform?
No.
All right, I gotta break this down because this is such a cool concept. A lot of people did not like the movie, but it's on Netflix. It's basically a Spanish alternative version of Snowpiercer.
Oh.
And instead of a horizontal train, it's a vertical prison tower.
Oh.
So the system at play, and the movie, it's all analogies of like things like wealth, poverty, capitalism, socialism, gluttony, those type of shit. Right. Like it's very prevalent, but I feel like a lot of people thought it was cheesy. A lot of like film movie people, but I really enjoyed it. I thought it was very interesting and fun and very dark. But the whole principle of the movie or setup is that people are like kidnapped, kind of Squid Gamesy style or whatever. Maybe they do it by choice, but you're in a tower, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the tower is like, let's say it's 100 levels. And on each level is one person. You have your level by yourself. And at the start of the tower is a platform, kind of like one of those bellwether things in fancy houses.
Yeah.
And it's a platform of the most decadent feast imaginable, right? And slowly, this platform goes down over the course of once a day. It goes down from the higher level to all the lower levels. And, a lot of people at the top like ruin all the food or like hoard it or drink all the alcohol or like shit on the feast. And most of the people at the bottom, by the time the platform gets to them, there's nothing left, or they're lucky if they get scraps and they die. And based on who you outlive, you get to ascend up the different levels.
Oh, wow.
Dude, it is
that is very interesting.
People are like cannibalizing each other and throwing themselves down the levels. And like other people below, the poor people basically survive off the corpses of the rich. It is like, for any of its faults, it's a very thought-provoking movie. Definitely worth watching. But the food stuff, I don't know, reminds me a bit of that extreme level of gluttony and feasting while your lower manservant subordinates eat the scraps.
Yep. So,
dark.
Yeah, very dark shit. So this regimen, the no breakfast, the large lunch followed by sleep, it's intended to help the wrestlers put on all that weight, and that's, so they compete more effectively, whatnot. The many wrestlers eat between 4,000 and 7,000 calories a day.
God damn.
To maintain and build the mass. It's like, I can picture what 4,000 calories looks like. 7,000 that's a lot of fucking food.
I don't think I've ever ate 7,000 in a day.
No. Yeah. No, never. Those who struggle to eat that much often adapt the tactical method of eating as fast as possible so that the food gets in their body before they feel too full to eat.
That's like, for a lot of people, I would imagine that it's like eating disorder level.
Yeah.
Eating habits.
I do that in a decent part, like the eating quickly. I kind of did when I was younger too, but like, especially in the food industry of like, most of my meals for the last 13 years, I would absolutely say most of the meals that I've eaten were eaten like hunched over a trash can or like in the back room, like trying to, or like ducking down behind the line to like eat little scraps of shit because there was just no time to like sit down and eat a full meal. There's a running meme in the food industry of like, you can't even, like, even when you're at home, you stand in your kitchen against the, lean up against the counter and, like, eat your dinner. Like, it's only been very recently that I've been comfortable enough to, like, at home sit down and eat a plate of food. Yeah.
Dude, I have a little bit of that too. Like, if I'm alone, I eat every meal like I'm a big fancy king. I eat my yogurts with the tiniest fancy little spoon.
Nice.
And I savor each little bite. I'm not even joking. Like, if any meal I have by myself, it's basically masturbation. Yeah. I'm in a robe. I got olive juice all over me. I'm living it up. But if I'm around anyone else, I scarf down all my food. And I think it's because I wanted to leave the dinner table as a kid as fast as possible. Yeah. Because I was an angsty kid. And then like rehab, prison-y shit, I would, I can't stand anyone touching me while I eat or being too close to me. Yeah. So my girl, I don't know why, she always wants to like put her leg or like hand on me while I'm eating. And I'm like, you leave me the fuck alone, okay? I don't know if you're gonna shank me. This is my food. Don't you dare ask for a bite. Leave me alone. I get like real defensive over my food.
That's fucking hilarious. I think it's very funny.
She thinks it's funny. I'm like, leave me the fuck alone. I just want my king feast. The negative health effects of the sumo lifestyle can become apparent later in life. Sumo wrestlers have a life expectancy between 60 and 65, which is more than 20 years shorter than the average Japanese male.
Wild.
That is hard to even read. As the diet and sport take a toll on the wrestler's body, many develop type 2 diabetes or high blood pressure, and they are prone to heart attacks due to the enormous amount of body mass and fat that they accumulate. The excess intake of alcohol can lead to liver problems, and the stress on their joints due to the excessive weight can also cause arthritis. Recently, the standards of weight gain are becoming less strict in an effort to improve the overall health of the wrestlers.
To turn professional, wrestlers must have completed at least 9 years of compulsory education and meet minimum height and weight requirements. In 1994, the Japanese Sumo Association required that all sumo wrestlers be a minimum of 5.7 feet in height. This prompted 16-year-old Takeji Harada of Japan, who had failed 6 previous eligibility tests, to have 4 separate cosmetic surgeries over a period of 12 months to add an extra 6 inches of silicone to his scalp, which created a large protruding bulge on his head. In response to this, the JSA stated that they would no longer accept aspiring wrestlers who surgically enhanced their height, citing health concerns. In 2019, the Japan Times reported that currently a blind eye is turned to those just shy of the minimums.
All right, 2 things.
Yeah.
Have you seen any of the height increasing surgeries?
Not until I saw this part of the information, and then I had to Google search it.
Yeah, I mean, this is pretty... To me, I give this man all props. That is like creativity, right? I mean, yeah. He tried 6 times and he was willing to get silicone injections, kind of similar to like the horn implants that gothy dudes get.
Yeah.
But have you seen actual bone heightening?
I have seen those, yeah.
They like break your legs, your femurs and shit, and they put spacers that have to get stretched like a vice every so many days, and you can add like 3 to 6 inches. People from the US travel to other countries to get some of these bone stretchings basically done. It is wild.
So fucking vain.
Yeah. It's like
so unnecessary.
Same with penis extension shit.
Yeah,
they do
man.
All kinds of wild shit. I mean, if I had the money, I'd try some crazy shit too.
Yeah, man, I'd get my dick bigified.
Why not? But I wouldn't do the bone stretching.
Yeah, that's wild as fuck. That's pretty rough.
Have you seen the donut heads?
Yes.
I think that's Korean. I'm not positive, but they do. This is so wild. Definitely YouTube this shit. But it's called donut head or whatever. But people, they basically run an IV right under your skin. So like an IV of basically that shit in the hospital. So you're filling the area between your muscles and skin with a silicone gel-ish water, and it puffs you up. You know, your face or arm, whatever area you do it, just expands like a giant swelling, and then they press different things into it. And it started, people would do it on their forehead, and they would press this donut shape onto your forehead, and it would leave these molded sculptures. I mean, it looks like movie CGI shit. Like you are molding and sculpting your fucking skin and body. And it stays there for like 6 hours, and then it naturally dissolves. And it's not particularly unhealthy or dangerous. It seems fairly safe. So people go to these like cafes and they get these like donut head procedures for like social media, for fun, or for performance or whatever.
I just looked up because I hadn't heard that it was being done with the silicone. It's done with a saline drip.
That's what I meant. Yeah. I'm sorry. That's why I said
You did say the IV, and I was thinking, I've never seen silicone in IV, and that's why I looked that up.
I believe I made that connection for some reason. There's some. Am I wrong?
I think the horns are usually silicone.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, but
gotcha.
And it's also sometimes called bagel head.
That's what it was, not donut head. Those donut heads.
It's also called that sometimes, but
okay.
Yeah, bagel heads.
I remember the first time seeing that, I was like, that's pretty. It looks really extreme, but it's actually like so much safer than splitting your tongue or something like that.
Yeah.
Just looks so fucking alien.
Yeah, pretty fucking weird.
I love it. I love that people do these weird things. All sumo wrestlers take wrestling names called shikona, which may or may not be related to their real names. Often wrestlers have little choice in their names, which are given to them by their stable masters, or by the supporters or family members who encourage them into the sport. This is particularly true of foreign-born wrestlers. A wrestler may change his wrestling name during his career, with some changing it several times. Kind of WWE style with the wrestling names.
Right?
Yeah.
Professor
Sumo.
Professor Sumo. Professional sumo wrestling has a strict hierarchy based on sporting merit. The wrestlers are ranked according to a system that dates back to the Edo period. They are promoted or demoted according to their performance in 6 official tournaments held throughout the year, which are called hanbasho. A carefully prepared listing of the full hierarchy is published 2 weeks prior to each sumo tournament. So that does answer the question we were talking about, the 70 yokozuna throughout time, and that's just from the Edo period when they started using, which, could be as early as the 1600s when they started using that. So still, 70 people within the last, 400 years. It's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, and I think, I may be mistaken, but I believe when they do these postings of the rankings and matches, it's on those big wooden towers that they'll post things in like samurai movies. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about in samurai movies. I didn't know that's how they do that.
It might not be for this specifically.
I imagine nowadays they probably send out an email.
But on these, I think certain rankings or matchups, they still build these specific wooden towers specifically for like a wooden carving of the information to be revealed. It's very theatrical. I may be mistaken on what it's for, but it's in relation. In addition to the professional tournaments, exhibition competitions are held at regular intervals every year in Japan. And roughly once every 2 years, the top-ranked wrestlers visit a foreign country for such exhibitions. None of these displays are taken into account in determining a wrestler's future rank. Rank is determined only by performance in Grand Sumo tournaments.
Now, I think I did take this out, but I thought it was kind of cool. They have, like, especially in the foreign country ones, or like ones that they have like at like festivals or like different events or whatever, they have what they call flower sumo, which is like it's all for show, it's all for fun, it's a lot less aggressive. It's more of like it's more of like WWE-ish. It's like, just for a show of strength and sport and fun.
I like the naming though.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Flower sumo.
Yeah.
So originally, sumo was a solely Japanese sport. Since the 1900s, however, the number of foreign-born sumo wrestlers has gradually increased. In the beginning of this period, these few foreign wrestlers were listed as Japanese, but particularly since the 1960s, a number of high-profile foreign-born wrestlers became well-known, and in more recent years have even come to dominate in the highest ranks. This and other issues eventually led to the Sumo Association to limit the number of foreigners allowed to one in each stable.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I know one of the I guess, more popular guys is Bulgarian, and he was a professional Bulgarian wrestler, and he fell in love with sumo, and now he is a sumo master himself.
Pretty dope.
Yeah. Well, this part's not so dope.
Yeah.
But women are not allowed to compete in professional sumo. They are also not allowed to enter the wrestling ring or doyo, a tradition stemming from Shinto and Buddhist beliefs that women are impure because of their menstrual blood, which is not based.
Super not based.
Not based at all.
Pretty fucked.
Yeah, sucks.
A form of female sumo existed in some parts of Japan before professional sumo was established. In the 2018 film The Chrysanthemum and the Guillotine, which is a dope-ass film name, it depicts female sumo wrestlers at the time of civil unrest following the... It depicts female... Jesus fucking Christ. None of these words are Japanese.
Hey, we're working on one language. We can't worry about two.
It depicts... A form of female sumo existed in some parts of Japan before professional sumo was established. In the 2018 film, The Chrysanthemum and the Guillotine, which is a dope-ass film name, it depicts female sumo wrestlers at the time of civil unrest following the 1923 Great Kanto earthquake.
Interesting. Yeah, the chrysanthemum. I've always loved that word. Such a good name.
Yeah.
Chrysanthemum and the Guillotine. I have a title for a piece of art I'm working on right now called Salamanders and Swans.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah. I don't know what it's going to look like yet, but I think that blue piece I'm playing with, it kind of fits.
That sounds like it would be like a ballet performance.
Yeah.
I picture like Swan Lake or something is what I guess makes me think of, but like salamanders and swans.
I come up with lists of titles for all my pieces, like far before I make them.
That sounds like it makes sense to me.
I don't know why.
You just come up with cool shit in your head and you're like, oh, it helps. Do you use, when you make pieces, do you have one of those in mind?
Sometimes.
Or do you make it in like, oh, this sounds like this thing?
It's a little bit of both. A lot of times I think it helps me find focus in what I'm making, and then a lot of times it's like subconscious, and I know it's gonna fit with something, and it's kind of like this synchronicity, like different parts of my, I don't know. It feels to me like different parts of my creative mind are overlapping, but not always working at the same time, or like in the same timeline. So I want to capture the ideas because I know when I think of that title or feeling, eventually it's going to exist.
Yeah.
That sounds very abstract, but so this is another story that I came across that was pretty interesting, and it demonstrates how dumb it is for men to keep women out of sumo.
Yeah.
So I believe this was 2017 or 18, I forget, but a local mayor is at one of these sumo tournaments, right? He's on this podium in the middle of the ring, and he's giving the introduction opening ceremony speeches. And I guess he had some sort of heart condition, and he's standing up there reading, and he passes out. And it's like a big scare. The crowd is, what's happening?
Clutching their pearls. And
yeah, because they actually love their mayors, okay? They give a fuck. They know who their mayor is. And when he went down on that clay platform, everyone is freaking out. and everybody's running over to him. They're calling for medical attention. But it turns out there was a nurse right nearby, and she runs up there. She's ready to start giving him CPR, whatever the fuck she needs to do, and save his life. But instead, the members of the Sumo Federation that were there had her forcibly, they rip her off of him. They're like shoving her away. Like one dude's like basically like trying to swing at her. They are freaking out that she would break the tradition of not allowing a woman to set foot on the clay ring.
Yeah, not even like you can't participate in the sport. You can't even like
give medical attention.
Yeah, you can't give medical attention to somebody who probably is dying in the middle of the ring right now.
Yeah, and he very nearly died. They were able to save him in the hospital. And to me, that's,
we'd rather have this man die on the ground in front of all of us than have a woman set foot on this clay battleground.
How dare they? They could have menstruated all over our dirt. I mean, it's so psycho. And it goes back to like tradition. And to me, that represents all the downside of tradition. When you hear all these dumb fuck alt-right dudes talk about embrace tradition, go back to trad life shit, like, these are the realities of those outcomes.
Yeah. I think you can absolutely cherry pick from tradition. There are some cool things that are romantic, sure, and there's a lot of hot bullshit.
Yeah, just like, I mean, it's part, tradition is part of the beauty of sumo. All of the cool, interesting parts, right? But it also is all of the modern day flaws as well. And when these men in these interviews after this mayor nearly died, one after the next, they all would repeatedly cite the exact words of how impure women were, specifically due to menstruation, which is, something that goes back to like witchcraft and shit.
Yeah.
And it's so weird and gross and cringy for that to be the line. And after thinking about it, this concept for like 2 minutes didn't take long. But I was thinking about how when we look back on folklore, on mythos, our modern day heroes, James Bond, Jack Bauer, whatever loser you want to look up to in American culture, just like world shit, we always look at the heroes as the ones who give away the most blood.
Yeah.
Right? They're the ones that the more of themselves they bleed out for us, the more they make that sacrifice, the more that they tend to be worth. Our heroes bleed and sacrifice for us. And I don't know exactly how to connect that, but I know there's something to that, and a much wiser person could probably make that analogy better. But there's something there. It just,
Basically, you're saying women on their period are Jack Bauer.
Dude, 24 season 11. I'm on. All right. Anyone who liked the show 24 when it came out in 2000 whatever, you're a bad person. You should be ashamed, because me 20 years later, I'm on season 2 and I have never seen a worse show, and I'm enchanted. It's the first thing I've enjoyed watching in a couple months, because holy shit, it is so absurd. It's so funny. But the point being,
sorry, I didn't have anything on 24. I've never watched it.
They do all these crash cut, like soap opera style zooms.
Oh, good.
The dialogue. They do every like cringy cliche character, like the hippie, the black guy who breaks into politics. They do the white guilt thing. They do all these like politicky cliches that during the year 2000 would have been super woke. Hey, that guy's a Muslim, but that doesn't mean they're bad, man. Like that kind of shit. But then they'll be like, hey, but if you kill them, they might just revolt and kill everyone. Like, where it's still like racist. Like, and then they'll do like a crash zoom to like someone, looking over. It is unhinged.
That's fucked.
Worst writing I've ever seen. And it was like the top 3 show for like 5 years. The one season's supposed to be 24 hours. They made in the first season, which is one day, this man's wife and daughter gets kidnapped on 3 separate events.
Jesus Christ.
The wife gets amnesia, loses it, and then dies. I mean, it's just ridiculous. I'm having so much fun, though. All of this being the point that while women were still not allowed in the sport, women's sumo groups have been growing in popularity on university campuses across Japan.
That's dope.
Yeah, but more women in sumo would be rad.
Fuck yeah, it would. The International Sumo Federation was established to encourage the sport's development worldwide, including holding international championships. A key aim of the federation is to have sumo recognized as an Olympic sport. Amateur sumo clubs are gaining in popularity in the United States, with competitions regularly being held in major cities across the country. The U.S. Sumo Open, for example, was held in the Los Angeles Convention Center in 2007, with an audience of 3,000 people. The sport has long been popular on the West Coast and in Hawaii, where it has played a part in the festivals of the Japanese ethnic communities. Now, however, the sport has grown beyond the sphere of solely Japanese wrestlers, and now athletes come from a variety of ethnic, cultural, and sporting backgrounds. There's also a large interest in sumo across Europe and Brazil, which I think is fucking cool. Apparently there's a huge immigration of Japanese people to Brazil, and it's one of the places where they commonly held a lot of where they commonly hold a lot of sumo competitions.
It's all over.
Fuck yeah.
That's cool. So before closing out, I know you got some lore for us at the end, but before closing out, we also want to lightly touch on some of the criticisms and allegations against modern sumo. So this is the dark side of sumo. And these are all rumors and allegations. We don't know the full extent, but there are, aside from all the sexist traditions, there's a lot of problems in sumo as well. So many people believe the Sumo Federation itself is very skep. There's no transparency. It's very closed off, old-fashioned thinking with clear discrimination against women and foreign fighters. Now, part of this, I think any kind of closed off system, it's really easy to think of as poorly intentioned. Mm-hmm. But when everything's behind closed doors, even decisions that may be controversial are taken in the worst way because there is no transparency. And a lot of outsiders claim to be clearly disadvantaged until they become winners in the sport. So like this Bulgarian guy that became a stable master, he was very frank, but kind of timid in saying that when he was new, it felt like he was an outsider for a long time. And that could happen in a lot of different ways. That could be you're given bad bouts or lesser of a chance or kind of bullied in your training or exiled or whatever. It took a lot of different forms for different people, but once he claimed that once you earn that respect and start to become a winner, that you become more embraced. And I can kind of see both sides of that. I think at its worst, that can be kind of an abrasive, abusive, closed off world. But I also see at other times how that might not be the worst thing. That there's this debate in where it's hard to know what level of gatekeeping should be done. Mm-hmm. Because you don't, if you let everyone have a voice with a particular topic, you also allowed the narrative to get shifted. And it would be the same way with the sport in the sense, if there's no gatekeeping and athletes from all over the world are allowed to take over their sport that is so integral to their culture and tradition, it could really ruin it.
Yeah.
But if the gatekeeping is too strict, That's not great either.
Right,
right. So there's a lot of issues with that. And then there's also this issue of not being able to criticize sumo. So a lot of journalists fear the Sumo Federation. And that sounds overstated, but it's very possible that is for very good reasons. In a lot of these interviews or documentaries, journalists who write about or speak in criticism of the Sumo Federation, they are disguised. They are not showing their face. They're doing the voice altering, all that shit, because they know their career as a journalist is over. They know they cannot publicly go against or disagree with the Sumo Federations. They have, at the very least, a lot of power and are immune to some level of criticism. And this part is kind of the accusation, but this may be due in part to Yakuza ties. In the past, this had been kind of a common known thing, and I don't know if that's really like specific to sumo. It's just Yakuza used to be so fucking huge. Yeah. It still exists today, but it is not the same at all. It's by comparison very small, and I would imagine they had, a finger in the pie of every sport.
Yeah, with an organization that big, that I feel like they definitely have control over, whatever there's money being thrown around, right? Like that's...
Yes. And this is like the biggest sport of the country, It attracts a ton of gambling, so...
I don't know, baseball's getting pretty fucking big over there.
That is interesting, isn't it? But anything that has gambling, right? You have organized crime. That's just how it works. Right. And even if Yakuza connections weren't direct to the Sumo Federation, it was part of this world. And today, it seems like that is a lot less clear what level of Yakuza even exists or still would be connected to sumo. But there are those allegations by reporters at times, and they have to speak, from while hiding who they are. So there's some level of credibility to the risk of criticizing the Sumo Federation.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, some journalists are still willing to put themselves out and criticize the sport due to rumors of abuse. So this is the big one. Vice recently did a little expose on it because there is a lot of alleged abuse in the sumo world, specifically with corporal punishment. Many wrestlers argue that these rumors are blown out of proportion, and they feel that the truth of it is that it is just the nature of the sport and tradition. But allegations follow that wrestlers are often beat by their stable masters or peers, pushed beyond their limits, and sometimes are not allowed to quit. Once you're in that stable, attempting to leave could have bad consequences. And like I said, many of the wrestlers feel like, yeah, this could happen, has happened, but it is not a problem in the sport. Mm-hmm. They feel like some of it's just people that were, soft is the wrong word, but sensitive to some of the roughness of traditional training. And on the other side, certain violent things have happened. So I don't know where the truth is in between that. There's two sides. I don't fucking know enough. But I do know to some extent there is credibility to some of the violence, because there was a very public and recent case in Japan, I believe it was the last 5 years, where a wrestler was beat and eventually hung to death by his teammates and stable master. Ultimately, the stable master got 6 years in prison, and the other wrestlers involved were all given conditional release on the charges.
Wow.
Yeah, so... And there's been a lot of like photos or different news reports circulating of these bruises that wrestlers have, whether they're smacked with these metal rods or sticks, different shit, pushed to their limits all the time. The secretary, the older guys, top of the sport, beating on these new guys. And I mean, we can see that with any man machine that has ever existed, right? It's hazing, it's abuse, whatever. It's hard to know to what extent, but these things happen.
Yeah, I was gonna
that's the dark side.
Relate it to like, it's not at all the same level, but there is like in the culinary thing, there's this whole it's very
militant.
Yeah, militant. Yeah, there's the weird thing where like there are conditions that suck, and there are like hours that suck, and there's a lot of stuff that you're just supposed to kind of suck up, and like you don't get sick days and like shit like that. Like that's one of the really old school ones of like you don't call out of work sick. You show up, and if we deem you too sick to be here, we'll send you home. But we're also gonna like you could still potentially lose your job for being unreliable because you missed a Saturday night because you were sick.
I have an even better analogy.
Please.
Okay? It's kind of like if you're a new priest and you go to priest school, it's kind of like how all the old priests get to molest the new priest.
Yeah.
It's just the way it goes.
Yeah, it's just part of the thing.
You got to take one for the team now.
Some people are, you complain about it, or, you try to like put up a change to it, and, and those are just the weak people among the group,
Yeah, I see whatever man machine it is, the military, I don't know, sports, the college groups, whatever the fuck they're called, all that shit. Like any groups of men or just people in general, big groups of people with organized structures are always bad. It's just always bad.
Yeah. People shouldn't organize.
No. Total anarchy. So I hear you got a little some mythos and Ricky Weeben to get out before we bounce out.
Oh boy, I realize we saved this for last, and there's so many words that are going to be so hard to pronounce.
I'm just going to do my best to listen to you tell a story as I
So this is like the mythos lore and like the Shinto part of this, but like just the cultural part of this. It's so old. It's it involves gods, and like how sumo came to be was like the battling between these gods. And I'm now somewhat regretting that we've put this at the very end where I'm going to have to try to pronounce all of these.
Yeah, don't sell it any harder.
Yeah, boy, it's going to be fun. It's probably going to be hard to follow along with too, but it's a cool story. So prehistoric wall paintings indicate that sumo originated from an agricultural ritual dance performed in prayer for a good harvest. The first mention of sumo can be found in a Kojiki manuscript dating back to 712 Common Era, which describes how possession of the Japanese islands was decided in a wrestling match between the kami known as Takamikazuchi and Takaminikata. Takamikazuchi was the god of thunder, swordsmanship, and conquest, created from the blood that was shed when Izanagi slew the fire demon Kagusushi. Takaminikata was a god of water, wind, and agriculture, and hunting, and a distant descendant from the storm god Susanoo. When Takamikazuchi sought to conquer the land of Izumo, Takaminikata challenged him in hand-to-hand combat. In their melee, Takamikazuchi grappled Takaminikata's arm and crushed it like a reed, defeating Takaminikata and claiming Izumo. The Nihon Shoki, published in 720's Common Era, dates the first sumo match between mortals to the year 23 BC, when a man named Nomi no Sukune fought against Taima no Kohaya at the request of Emperor Soinen and eventually killed him, making him the mythological ancestor of sumo. According to the Nihon Shoki, Nomi broke a rib of Taima with one kick and killed him with a kick to the back as well. Until the Japanese Middle Ages, this unregulated form of wrestling was often fought to the death of one of the fighters.
And that is the birth of sumo. Another chapter of history by the Trash Cats.
I mean, we are basically historians at this point. We need credits.
I feel like a historian. I'm ready to teach a college class right now.
Oh man, we could. I mean, we can at least give a lecture.
Oh yeah, we can have to go to college.
We can absolutely find a college that is willing to give us a lecture. We'd have to sell ourselves on something, but there have been wilder people that have gotten.
Dude, That reminds me of an amazing video I'm going to send you later of a man who lied his way into giving a TED Talk. And it is one of the funniest things I've ever seen. It's so good. But I feel like we didn't have to lie that much. We did pretty good on representing the history of sumo. We did okay. I had a lot of fun.
We say that now. You put together the edit and we'll figure out how good it is.
We'll see.
Thanks again to sumotalk.com. Shouts out to Sumo.
Actually, yes, thank you. And thank you, Bud Dwyer. Guys, give it up for Bud.
Yeah, give it up for Bud. You probably YouTubed it while you're listening to this.
And stopped listening.
And stopped listening to us.
What else? I think that's it.
Yeah, I think that's all we got for today.
I really liked doing sumo.
Yeah.
And one of the things I wanted to talk about upcoming, I know we got freestyle next. I want to do some philosophy. And I have now a second point of my time theory. And I think I'm building this time theory manifesto. We're going to have to drop one of these days. But I would love to do some philosophy soon. But I really enjoyed the history of this with you. This was something different for me.
Fuck yeah. I would love to get back into some string theory, fucking scientific.
Let's do it.
Maybe not, scientific might not be the right word. Theoretical.
Metaphysic.
Yeah.
Shit. Yeah.
Some wild shit. I would love to get back into some of that.
I've been watching a decent amount lately, but I'm having more and more trouble finding the stuff I really like. Sam Harris had something recent about time that actually really got through to me. It was pretty good. I think we could get something out of that, or I would very much love some more of the sciencey metaphysics stuff too.
Yeah. I would like to say did you ever hear from the European, our England listener?
No. I mean, it's only been a week, but
come on,
you're
not caught up on the episodes. What's up with that?
We need all of our European trash cats to represent a lot harder.
Yeah,
that's for sure. You got anything? You need to get off your chest? Any dishonors or advice?
Absolutely
emails?
Nothing. Everything is great and good, and there's nothing wrong in the world. Thanks again for listening, everybody. Thank you to
shouts out to sumotalk.com.
Yeah,
Don't forget them.
Thank you to Approaching Human for the use of his music. You can find his work on SoundCloud at Approaching-Human.
Thanks, John. I'm going to talk to him tomorrow about some album cover art, which I'm so fucking glad he's doing an album. That'd be really cool. Check him out on SoundCloud.
Hell yeah.
Approaching
Tell
Human.
John I said what up.
For sure.
Make sure to check out the show page at TrashCatsTrashCast on Instagram for news and arts from the show. Also, check out Facebook for the memes.
Facebook for the shit memes. And if you're super bored, you can check out my trashy art on Instagram at Skyzix, SKYZSX. Expect a piece called Salamanders and Swans at some point, I guess. And shouts out. We didn't really have any honors besides Bud Dwyer. So I think that's it. Next week, we're freestyling, chilling, and figuring out some cool philosophy stuff. And I think that's it.
Hell yeah. Rest in power, Bud Dwyer. That's going to be all for us today. Stay classy, eat trashy.
Go fast, eat oh, fuck.
Also, I realize I can say Trash Cats with no issues now. It just flows right off the tongue.